Welcome back to the Kamen Rider review show thingy that we're doing. I'm Kuchiri, joined again by Frezno, Cat, and Kris. We're here to talk about Reiwa, the first generation, the Geo01 crossover movie.
My God, worlds collide.
It was a thing.
It was a thing. So to kind of preface what going on through this, if you don't know anything about Geo,
Which
it was
I
the 20th and final Heisei Kamen Rider season. Um, and so it was also an anniversary season, the second anniversary season of Heisei. So basically, when Kamen Rider came back in 2000 after their hiatus in the 90s, sort of like another sci-fi show that we can't talk about right now.
mhm.
It came back Kamen Rider Kuga. 10 years in, they decided to do Kamen Rider Decade, the first of the anniversary things. Basically, every so often there'll be an episode dedicated to a previous Kamen Rider. Decade teams up with them, gain new powers, blah blah blah. They
Gotcha.
decided to cut Decade short down to 39 episodes because they do these seasons year round. Episode 1 of the Super Sentai was alongside episode 1 of the Kamen Rider, right?
Mm-hmm.
And since they both follow similar plots with how they gain powers and new Megazords and new forms, they would end up having like 3 months where they had no toys coming out because they've shown all the forms and all the Megazords, right?
Gotcha.
So they decide if they cut the cage short, they can do the stagger thing. So they move on. 10 years later, we end up getting Geo, and Geo's the last Heisei, and he's also an anniversary season where he teams up with previous Kamen Riders sometimes, gain new powers, blah blah blah. At the end
Had an
of
entire bit. Like, I don't know if you. At the end of the last show, you had an entire bit where you had to explain the entire complex, like, mechanics and rule systems of the another riders, and I was just sitting there like, what are we getting into?
And then we got here, and it was just like, oh, it's just garbage.
so Geo, their monster, is the Another Riders, and I've already kind of explained their power set, but basically they replace Kamen Riders. And Kamen Rider Geo, time jackers show up, and they'll show up to time zones of other riders. So like Kamen Rider Gaim came out in 2013, 2014. Shows up to some random dude, and the time jacker go, "You are now Kamen Rider Gaim," thus erasing the Kamen Rider Gaim and his story from that world.
Which is funny you mentioned because that is not at all how this movie works. Like,
Yeah.
like Kamen Rider 01, there's another 01 who's the bad 01, but Aruto still can turn into 01, so it's like,
No,
it's an exception to the rule?
no, he can't turn to 01. Not while another 01's around.
Well, let's
So,
be fair.
But
He
how
does.
they
He
there?
does actually transform. It's
He
just he
did.
can't
Does.
use any of his powers.
So, yeah, he loses his powers quickly, which is how they could. So when Geo, so like right after another Gaim is created, they cut to an actual scene from the show Kamen Rider Gaim, where Gaim's about ready to do a finisher. His powers breaks off of him, and then he does the whole John Travolta thing from. Oh, I can't even talk about that. Never mind. He does the meme with John Travolta looking around confused, and then walks off.
for those who
Yeah.
are
They
curious,
did that for they did.
sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but for those who are curious, we're trying to follow the SAG-AFTRA rules because they do cover podcasters, and essentially we don't want to name anything or to be on the side of caution. We don't want to name anything because that could essentially be promoting something that is covered by the strike.
I
Yeah,
hope you
and we-
appreciate how restrictive this is to our creative critique.
And it's like
We're
we're
a
nothing.
bunch of people who point out pop culture. It happens. And so they did that. So like for the Kamen Rider X8 episode, same thing. Kamen Rider O's. You're now Kamen Rider O's. Cuts to a scene of Kamen Rider O's doing a rider kick and powers faltering and he falls to the ground. Stands up, looks around, walks off. So like you could still be the Kamen Rider for only a little bit, but your power is sapped away immediately.
I mean, it
Which is
doesn't
what
help
we
that
actually see at the start of this movie.
It doesn't help that another 01 just basically steals his entire transformation belt. So, you know, that kind of helps.
Well,
but,
that makes sense. So,
yeah. But to be fair, we are
let's
skipping
talk
ahead.
about the beginning of the movie for a little.
Yeah, it's like we're kind of skipping ahead there.
The way Kuchiri said it made it sound like this was timey-wimey. Oh my god, my powers have been erased instantly. But it's not like that.
That's kind of what I was expecting.
Yeah. No. It's just you cannot use the power if someone else is. If you are Kamen Rider Blank and there is another Kamen Rider Blank, you are no longer Kamen Rider Blank. That's basically just the rules.
It drains away the power until they can no longer use it, is what I'm getting out of this.
Yeah.
Well,
And, like,
right.
you know, but they still want to show off the original Rider because, hey, nostalgia. But this is what they turned into.
Yeah. Otherwise, this would be a movie of just untransformed Naruto for 100 minutes. And
I love Naruto, but
kind of was.
Come on.
Anyway, beginning of the movie.
Before we could get to, I do want to bring up one other neat little fact. Because Gio's story was ended in his own series, in fact, the series ends with him creating fan fiction of everyone being alive again, and somehow, even though they all came from different time zones, they all now live with him and go to school with him. They did not want to do any kind of like new plot for Gio, so this was literally Naruto's movie, even though Gio's a part of it.
Okay, so you're gonna have to back the heck up. Did you just say the hero of the guy? The whole thing, the whole reason that this is just starting in the middle of this thing is because he wrote a fan fiction because his entire team is dead.
Yep. He also revived. He revived everyone who died in Gio that was not related to Kamen Rider Decade, and made it to where they now live in his time zone. Because some of them came from like the year 3000, and some of them came from the year 2060.
That's so sad. That's depressing as hell.
Oh, honey, you
Well,
don't know much
What's
about.
wrong with you?
You don't know much about Kamen Rider, do you? From my understanding, that's just par for the course. We're gonna have a bad time.
Anyway, so Naruto. So we start out with Naruto waking up, being late for work again. We get little. Oh, go ahead, Chris. Sorry.
Oh my gosh! So his entire apartment is fantastic. There's so many cute little Easter eggs. He has the signed picture from the artist dude. He has his really ugly comedian suit. I still don't understand that. You can see his childish personality and all the cute toys that are up on top of his shelf, but it's up where he can't play with them because, you know, he's grown up now. And yet he's still holding on to that childish dream. And then I guess that thing above his bed, Kat pointed out that it looked like a Magic Eye poster. It could be. The sword from Artist Dude's anime thing is in there somewhere. I can't remember where exactly, but
it's like
he wakes up.
Hoop.
Yeah.
Oh wait, the fish might be a reference to the sushi episode.
That's a good point. Didn't he have swordfish sushi?
No. It was squid. It was squid and something else.
I think Yua had fatty tuna,
anyway.
But that's about it.
The mask might be a reference to a future episode. The demon mask.
Oh.
I'm not going to say anything more to that.
Oh ho ho.
No, but there's a lot of neat stuff here. But we get a callback to the joke from the very first episode where he yells about somehow oversleeping 5 alarms. Now he has 6, and he still oversleeps.
Rare footage of the Kamen Rider actually on a motorcycle.
Yeah.
Yes, I very much appreciated that.
Well, here's the thing. knowing what we know about this timeline, how did he get the motorcycle if they is millions of miles underground right now?
Well, naturally, the timeline shifted around him after he got on the motorcycle.
Oh, okay.
Or it could just be that he already had
'Cause,
the
like-
motorcycle and he was just using it to get to work.
Yeah.
Actually, while we're on that, Kacheri, is there a Doylist reason? A Watsonian reason? Sorry, why the timeline shifts around Naruto instead of him being changed along with history?
No clue.
Okay.
And Geo, two writers very early on in Geo knew that they lost their powers and knew that stuff was screwy around them, but every other writer had no clue after that point.
So
Hmm.
They just don't explain it. But
all right, fair enough.
I mean,
But,
I
like,
could
the
tell you
very-
the reason. I know the reason why.
Because
he's the star of the movie.
That's
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
that's the Doylist reason. I was wondering if there was a Watsonian.
no, it's just like there's a neat little scene where an original Kamen writer explains to Geo how to do his catchphrase and finishing move while Geo's in his armor.
Oh,
And another Kamen rider tries to win his own battle without his powers because he wants to make sure he's the one and only of this rider. So there's this whole scene where he knows he's the rider, but he can't transform or fight, but he still tries to fight anyway.
okay.
But yeah,
But yes, Aruto's
so-
riding his bike. He's going down the street, and all of a sudden he's noticing there's all these humagears all around, including children, which, by the way, I am very opposed to because they don't grow up.
they don't grow up, but how will teacher humagears and daycare humagears and all that function?
Exactly. But like I hadn't realized that the entire world was humagears at this point, and I see these tiny baby humagears, and I'm just thinking, and it's like, what the hell? And then everything got explained.
Yeah.
We're in a better timeline.
We're in a
Oh,
timeline
no.
where Skynet won.
Okay,
Wait,
so now that
You've
we're
got
at
to
this
get that
point, I have a very important question for you, Kachiri. Do all the Kamen Riders take place in the same world, or are they in fact, as they say, different worlds that in this movie got merged into one?
Depends on the rider.
Gotcha. So sometimes they do have different riders in the same universe,
Yeah.
but sometimes they just don't.
So Kamen Rider Geo, they were all in the same world. Kamen Rider Decade, he went through alternate dimensions with Kamen Riders. They were all separate worlds. 3 of the Rider seasons all take place in the same world, and they were neighbors to each other, like
Gotcha.
city-wise. Randomly in the middle of Revise, even though I had no reference to any of the previous Kamen Riders. In fact, in Revise, Kamen Rider is a TV show, and one of the characters collecting all the belts. There's a crossover with a Kamen Rider from 10 years before. It depends on the world how they treat the other Kamen Rider worlds.
Gotcha.
Some Kamen Riders are some Kamen Riders in their own series they're by themselves completely. There's no other connectors. Some riders reference all the previous riders. Some riders only reference riders that they feel like they need to reference. But yeah, it just depends on the story.
Gotcha.
This one seems to be like a multiverse Kamen Rider
Yep.
thing, where it's like, oh no, the Time Jackers have messed with the timeline, and now these universes are merging. So the Geo universe is merged with the 01 universe. Oh goodness. Well, that's bad, but on the upshot, it means we get a crossover between our Karate Bug people.
Karate
Mhm.
bug people. That's brilliant.
And,
Karate bug.
But yeah, this is a bad timeline where the Humagears have taken over the world, and their goal is to exterminate humanity. And the president of Hedon is a Humagear named Will, who, as we later
Yep.
find out, was a president. Grandpa
Presi-
Hedon.
Presidential aide.
So
Yeah.
you know how is currently, will is future tense. They kind of get those backwards, don't they? Will's actor, by the way, our friend Rainiac will know him most from the most recent Sentai series, Dom Brothers, that finished. The actor plays one of the characters' dad, who is kind of like this weird Zordon type. Well, that's some neat little trivia there.
Neat.
But we get after we meet Will and we find out that he's the president of Hedon. He has his own poster and everything with this stupid triangle necklace thing.
I hate that thing so much.
We get to see what the Geo crew's going on. You know, they're all going
Yeah.
to school.
I really liked this scene.
Yeah, it was a little.
This entire
It was a
bit
little
is
bit
really cool.
removed. It was a bit removed for me because I'm not familiar with the character, but honestly, it was
The-
kind of fun.
The thing is, even though you don't know the characters,
But that's not yet, Chris. Slow your
because
roll.
Geo ends with basically Geo creating fanfiction that all of his friends are alive again. These are the characters that aren't really in Geo.
Ooh. Okay, so
Yeah.
they replaced the actors, or
No, they're same people, but
He made
So
me do happy
Gates and-
timeline.
Gates and Tsukiyomi were originally born in the 2050s.
oh,
There's a whole mystery of Tsukiyomi's past, so if you guys ever decide to watch Geo, I'm not going to go into it. But Gates, right from the bat, is like a hero type, and Geo in 2060 is just murdering everybody. So Geo is actually the big bad guy of Kamen Rider Geo, while also being the main hero. And so Gates, throughout the show, is like, I'm just going to kill you now before you become the evil demon king Geo. Okay, that's cool. But never, of course, never kills Geo.
That
and
makes some
eventually
sense
they
as
become
to
best
what he
friends.
was, how he was describing himself. And
he's the
everything.
Majima to his Kiryu.
And then, later on, we'll meet Waz, who's also from that timeline, who was a traitor to Gates' rebellion group against Omageo.
Was?
Waz. That's the dude with the
No,
scarf.
Frez, no.
Frezno,
know
yes,
what
that
you're
is
doing.
me.
I know what you're doing.
Hey, all.
Hey, all. Waz here. Anyway, this is my Demon King that I love very much.
No, but I really love this scene where Tsukiyomi senses something weird, and it's like, I wonder what's going on. And they're like, oh no, we're late for class. And they sneak in, and the entire class is Humagears, and the teacher is a Humagear. And they're like, what the hell's a Humagear? Humans detected! Humans detected! Exterminate! Exterminate!
And can I
So
just
the
say
Humagear teacher.
the absolute irony of the fact that this entire time they're like, Tsukiyomi is like, what would you guys do if all of humanity went extinct? And they're like, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that, and then all of a sudden it's entirely silent in the halls. And as they go try to sneak into this classroom, the Humagear teacher is talking about how they killed all the humans. On the
So the
nose,
Humagear
yeah.
teacher. So the Humagear teacher is a Super Sentai alum. He was Toku Rokugo, or number 6. In fact, the pose he's doing with how he has 6 fingers up and he has the one in the palm of his hand is a reference to his pose when they're doing the roll call in Super Sentai.
Right.
Noted.
He's also talking about the 6th law of, or chapter 6 or something like that. So they're really
Okay.
the fact.
It was a
Yeah.
cute little Easter egg, but I really like this fight scene because up till now, the fight scenes we've had in the Kamen Riders have been with people in suits. Either they're the Humagear drones or an Extinction Rise or whatnot. And it's been good choreography, but it's been people in suit. It's really neat to see like people, like actual actors, like thrown down in this big choreography
Yeah.
of fighting each other and these kids trying to get away from the army of humans. This is some really good action stuff. I like this.
It's really
Oh,
nice.
yeah.
It was.
And the best
It's like
part
they have a
is
budget
it
since
goes
this
through
is a
the
movie.
entire movie.
They don't
too.
have a budget. Look at that CGI.
Sorry,
Kat.
Kat. What'd you say?
Well, I was just saying it's really nice because it's not like this one scene. It continues through the entire movie where they hold off on actually transforming. It's just it's
Yeah.
nice. It's nice to actually have some human action rather than just like Arto being all weird and Arto. I think that explains
One last
it.
bit of neat little trivia thing. With the teacher being a former Super Sentai actor, this is also the 4th Super Sentai actor that's tried to kill Geo.
What's happening?
Throughout Geo, they had a bunch of possible future Kamen Riders show up, and each one was a Super Sentai actor that turned into a rider that Geo had to deal with.
Dang.
Oh yeah,
So
fun stuff. So, fights. The whole thing
They-
goes on. They are being chased. They're being hunted, and then out of nowhere, a man shows up and throws out a scarf, and they all disappear.
Yep. And he's hot. Not gonna lie.
Hey, all.
And then he shows up with this stupid thing. I'm like, I hope you can. This. What is this? This is ridiculous.
So throughout the show, Waz carried a book that was basically his Bible of all the different events Geo did on his road to becoming a homicidal dictator, destroy the whole human race thing. And so, like, every time Geo got a new form, he screamed, "It won! This is the dawn of a new era! Welcome, Kamen Geo! Build on and stuff like that. So why, he doesn't say, "I'm not going to do any weighing for you guys later on," whenever there's a later on fight scene. But his whole thing is about reading up on the future and rejoicing events.
And this just happens to
Waz
be
and
the
his magic
01
book.
book.
Yep.
And I look at this book. Like, look at this ridiculous, like, DIY crafty nonsense. There's like a watch plastered to the front of it. We've got a little robot hand holding a 0 and one holding a 1, and they're
For
reaching
01.
toward each other like.
Yeah.
And all of these
Well-
colorful plastic gears. Steampunk nonsense. What is
Well-
this?
I
The
mean,
original book, because of the fan fiction, the original book is probably destroyed. Because Geo did not become evil. Like,
All right.
yeah. So the reason why this book is here is because Geo now needs to return to do something. And, there's a chance that he might go full Oma Geo again. But there's only one line in this book, and it's to find the first rider, which is interesting. Anyway,
Yeah, I'm sure
So,
this being a
back
completely new
to,
generation has nothing to do with it.
so by the way, I'm just posting this for ourselves. This is Oma Geo.
Wow.
So that's
Yeah. All right.
that's Evil Boy Geo.
Yep.
Bitch is just decked out in like tons of watch bling. All right, gotcha.
Cool.
Yep. So we get the fight with Will and Naruto. He starts to authorize his key and wait, where's the grasshopper?
I love this gag.
He
I will say
he like triggers the start.
I just wanted to say that
Yeah.
Kris and I did not figure out why the grasshopper came from under the ground until it got to the end, and I was looking at the wiki just to make sure we saw everything, and it was like, oh, that's why.
Oh, that is a cute detail.
Yeah. Honestly, it was fun.
It was fun.
Because, like, at first I was expecting him to not be able to transform at all, and that's why I'm thinking, oh, so this is what Kuchiri was talking about. And then, no, it just pops out of the ground like, hi!
Oh, there.
Diglett?
Then we get another 0-1 when Will transforms, which I think we have some things to say about this form.
Why do all the evil
Yes,
ones get
first-
wings? Why? And this includes Yuwa
Well,
because she's
yeah,
working
but,
with
like-
the evil people.
Oh, well, okay. Gorgeous design. It's Kabuki Oni mask themed. I love it. It's got wings. Why?
Yeah, seriously, why do all the evil people
Aren't
get the
they just
wings?
not allowed to fly? Is this
Aruto-
a recurring theme?
Aruto had a freaking bird-themed Progrise key, and he still didn't get wings. But as soon as Jin gets it, of course he gets wings. Why do all the evil people get wings? Are wings just evil in Japan? Do they have a problem with wings?
You know what? I don't think so. I don't know.
So the whole like horrible, scary designs of the Another Riders are a theme with the Another Riders.
Oh, that's kind
Where
Yeah,
of
is
it's
a,
just
you
another
were
Oni
mentioning.
mask.
Well, see, that's actually there's a Oni Kamen Rider. Kamen Rider Hibiki is actually Oni themed.
Oh no,
So
you
when
said the magic words.
You know, it's the Oni mask.
Kamen Rider who?
Hibiki.
Damn it. God damn it. Why'd you have to say the words?
No.
Did
Hey,
Kamen Rider Hibiki also punch things a lot, or was it mostly kicking?
It was mostly putting a giant drum on a monster and drumming that monster until it died.
So
God, I
thunder
love this.
damage.
I love
Kind
this
of.
stupid ass show. I love it so much.
So as 0-1's fighting, and as one of the rules of Another Riders, there can only be one of the riders. 0-1 is realizing he is losing a lot of power. His kicks aren't landing as hard as they should. His jumping isn't landing as hard as it should.
His
And,
strash isn't
just-
working.
He's just a human in a suit.
Yep. And then another 0-1 does his rider kick, which, yes, he gets wings for.
God damn it! Why do they hate him having wings? It's so unfair.
I bet you Aruto gets wings in like episode 40 and Kachiri's just sitting here with the like looking like this.
A big shit-eating grin.
Yeah.
No, there might be a reason why I have episodes laid out in the other chat for like topics. Was just like have one of the episodes just end on that, and I'm just going to end the podcast immediately before you guys have a word. So zero.
But yes, we have. Go ahead.
So 0-1's on the run, and everywhere he runs, there's human gears, and he has to go into kind of like a hiding, and we get to see some human gears from the show as cameos in the movie.
Okay, this is interesting to me because in the original timeline, as it were, of 0-1, it's Metsubo Jinrai turning the Humagears into these monsters that can never be turned back. But in this timeline, where they're like, oh yeah, let's exterminate humanity, they're like, oh look, a human, I'm going to willingly turn myself into a irrevocable monster.
Well, you have to remember they're entirely brainwashed by the Ark, so you know it's not entirely them doing this themselves.
So you're saying they're not entirely
all...
villainous?
God damn it!
Well, in their minds, they're doing the right thing. They've been. That is in their
For
minds.
the greater good.
Yep. For Ark's well.
God damn
which will have some significance I will talk about later in the film.
Oh boy.
So, the Geo Riders are getting their memories back, and somehow their clothes somehow also come back from the show. I don't understand why, but it's a thing.
I mean, all of their armor is in
And,
memory of other Kamen Riders, so sure? Question
I
mark?
guess the timeline's been fucked with. Who knows? But all right, they're back. Now what are they gonna do?
Well, first off, Aruto is being chased by these Humagears and gets saved by Fuwa and Yaiba.
Yue.
Yue. Awesome scene.
Oh, this scene is this is actually lit. Like this is for all of it.
It's lit, but I have some big concerns about you, Fua. Oh my god, not only do you have horrible trigger discipline, you're firing an automatic and it's shooting shells, hot shells, onto somebody underneath you. And they point this out. They literally show poor Aruto like swatting the shells away and panicking because he's getting pelted by hot metal. What the heck?
His
Japan!
reactions were all.
Okay, but like the scene, it is cool, and at the same time, there's things that make you go, huh? Like, okay, all the bullets are CG with the usual budget of Kamen Rider, but the actual like driving around and cool like car chase bullshit is really good.
Mm-hmm.
It's some,
Yeah,
of, it's some of the best action that Kamen Rider has had. That's what
Yeah.
this Kamen Rider anyway that I've seen so far.
And also, I have a question for you, Kachiri. Just based off of like the bullet action shots and stuff, I have to know: was this shown in 3D at any point, or is this just the way they work?
Probably, I don't know.
Ah,
Probably, I don't know. I don't. They
It's
might.
next of gimmick.
They might have toyed with the idea because they've had 3D. They've tried 3Ds with prior movies, but I couldn't tell you like it. I'll have to look at the wiki to see if there's a 3D version of this movie because I don't know.
yeah. It's one of those things that you kind of can tell when someone tries to do 3D because it's like, wow, suddenly this thing is right up in your face, even though there is no reason for it to be right up in your face. So
My hand is going through the screen.
Well, it's not. It's also they want to try and emulate other sci-fi stuff, so the slow down bullets, Oh,
we'll cut that out.
Well,
Like,
do we have like the ability to like bleep out things?
I
Because
can-
probably
I
gonna
can
have to
add
do a lot
bleep.
of that.
yeah, I can.
Yeah.
like I say, is gonna be very like we're gonna have to do it in editing. We're gonna do it in editing, but it's gonna be really hard because it's gonna be really fucking hard to stick to. You cannot mention anything from American pop culture in the last 100 years.
Yeah,
Yeah,
But-
I'd
but
say
you know
maybe
what,
we
it's not-
censor it. Let's just censor it.
yeah.
Make it easy on ourselves.
Yeah.
Like I get the abundance of caution too, but like, again, I blame the billionaires, but it's fucking frustrating that we're at the point now where we've gone from okay, let's talk to promoting new would be crossing the line. Let's not to.
Well,
We can't
now I have to bleep that.
Drew on this show.
That is stuff we're meant to bleep.
Well, cut this entire part out.
Yeah.
Uh,
Man, I really love talking about that show.
Oh.
And then, man, what about that show? And then this show. Yeah. Yeah. Fuck,
So,
just play,
yeah.
just pay
Anyway,
people
my
what they're
favorite
worth.
show is
So, Aruto has no idea what's going on. Realizes that, he even though he knows Fuwa and Yui, they don't know him. There's a funny scene after all the chasing explosions. He's like hugging Fuwa for support.
It's got.
Get the fuck off again. So yeah,
So,
humanity is on the run from the human years, and so it's your basic post-apocalyptic setup that you've seen 1,000 times before in other media that shall remain nameless for the sake of your bleeping. But yeah, they head back to their little rebel camp, and it's there.
which, by the way, my notes say, why are the rest of humanity just in a CS:GO map?
It's a post-apocalyptic bad timeline. Of course, they're on a bad CS:GO.
Well, I mean, to be fair, there are a lot of
We
chest-high
have-
walls for them to use.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's like a number of pictures that I took because honestly, this whole scene was just great. I don't know how many references there are. I don't know how many. I don't know how many cute Easter eggs were missing, but honestly, like everything was so fantastically varied. I had to stop and take screen cap because oh my god.
Yeah.
First starting with the little guy.
It's just a little guy.
The little guy
There's
there.
a scene where they little lizard dude. They have a scene where they like go into the complex through a pipe after Aruto arrives, and there's just a little lizard in there because why not?
It's just a little guy. It's his birthday.
It's just a little guy. I have found several ways to break Kris, and one of them is, it's just a little guy.
Yeah.
And also shrimp. Finally over
Not
it.
even with the shirt.
No, still got her.
We'll go for the double. It's just a little guy.
God damn
A
it.
shrimp.
God damn it, I hate you.
Love you
One of the background of this, I didn't want to look for him. There's an actor named Tom Constantine, one of the few American Tokusatsu fans that went to Japan and actually got to be part of multiple Kamen Rider seasons.
Wow.
Oh.
Neat.
That explains the random white guy.
The random white
Yeah,
guy.
that was
Oh, he's not even
weird.
American. He's English. Never mind. My bad. He's from London, England.
No. You're right. Wait. No, you're right. American, because even though he claims he was English, he was born in the United States of America.
I was born in the United States of America.
Yes,
He's
that.
also
He's also from
one of
Tejas.
the few. Yeah. He's one of the few non-Japanese actors to become a Kamen Rider in a future season.
Aw, that's good for him.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh,
But
the
yeah,
internet
this is-
blew up. Yeah. Well, Twitter internet did. Anyway, so Naruto meets all the resistance members. They find out that Izu has been helping them out. Izu knows that this Naruto is not the Naruto normally of this timeline.
Yeah.
Honestly, the Aruto normally in the timeline's probably dead.
Probably.
Probably.
Yeah, that was my main question, was what
Oh my
happened to the Aruto of this timeline? Did he die? Does he actually exist? Did Aruto, our Aruto replace him? Is the other Aruto in, the normal timeline? Does that timeline even exist? But, that's the same kind of questions that I have for other time travel things, so it makes sense that they don't explain it all. But no, I think
Yeah.
the basic is that there are a lot of interesting human characters here in this bit, and it's like we've got the person who looks like she might be a drag queen, or she could be trans. I don't want to say either way. We've got random white dude, and with a whole bunch of obviously Japanese people. We've got a guy who looks like the margarita guy from, and we've got a guy who just randomly is able to find enough hair gel and hair color to be able to have a full freaking mohawk, even though 12 years ago the world freaking ended. We've got Japanese Keanu Reeves. We've got Japanese guy from a different thing that we won't talk about, but if you look at the picture you can probably see it for yourself, and he's holding a shotgun, and that's freaking cool. But it's like, these are the most varied and interesting human characters I have ever seen. And also, seriously, where did he find the hair gel?
Yeah, oh
He's
my
got a
goodness.
full
You can kind of see the
mohawk.
top of his head.
Years of not
Yeah, you
washing
can kinda
his
see.
hair, and it's just his hair oil.
But
Yeah, this
again,
is the
like
movie.
he's got perfect hair color. Like, what the hell?
Pat, this is a movie about time-traveling bugmen who
Shut
do
up.
karate. Don't worry.
Shut up. The mohawk is the
So,
least
you know-
believable part of this whole thing.
So while we're being introduced to everyone, we get introduced to the vice president, his sidekick, who's been trying to repair Saleg's day.
Well,
For
I think it's more that they're building satellite there, right?
Is it
Rare
they or
footage
there?
of the vice president actually being nice to our town.
Yeah, this was a trip.
Oh my
And
goodness.
all it took
Yeah.
for him to get the stick out of his ass was Gear genocide of humanity.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I
yeah,
mean,
the big pick energy guy.
let's be perfectly fair. We see later
never
on
been that
what
guy.
it is that he saw that got him to turn over a new leaf, and that was pretty funny and horrifying at the same time. But we'll get to that in a minute.
No, it was just horrifying.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
there's a
murder,
part of it that's pretty funny. I'll explain when we get there.
Blech.
No,
You'll explain later.
we'll explain when we get there.
I think I know what it is, but anyway. So after we get all this introductions, hey, it's a human gear attack.
Oh
And
no!
so-
There's
They
like
found our secret base.
Oh,
How
my
could
goodness.
this have happened?
there. So like I have so many things I want to say about this. It's just like literally the Humagears have the worst tactical strategy on the planet. They just freaking Zerg rush the humans.
I
All
mean,
right?
to
They
be
just-
fair, when you're
they are
robots,
Foot soldiers running in. Still, oh my goodness, they could have infiltrated, they could have done anything, but no, they just show up and they throw themselves at them. And
I
then the
love
humans
how-
are no better.
I love how the fight starts out with Yui taking a sniper and just outright murking one.
Wowza.
Oh yeah. So this picture.
I think we need to
Bitches
talk
love
about.
Canada.
I think we need to talk about the best dressed attackers.
Oh
put
my
up the
goodness,
screenshot,
yes.
Chris.
The
Put up the
boys!
screenshot.
I'm putting them up. They're loading up.
So yeah, about a minute into this fight, we see Metrobo Jinrai doing much better for themselves.
Hey. Well, hey, they take. I mean, human gears have taken over the world, and they're exterminating humanity. It's what they always wanted.
Yeah, well,
Hooray!
they didn't
Oh my
have to
goodness.
hide away in a broken down building for 12 years.
Yeah, and the other interesting thing is
So-
that
so-
their ear things are intact too. So it's like, cool. That's a nice
Well,
detail.
yeah.
I'm glad they included
Yeah.
that.
Yep. Everything else, like they're just goth priest, samurai goth priest, cowboy, to murder humans.
Hooray!
It almost looks like a
What the
scene
hell?
from a movie. Yeah,
I
I'll
mean,
type.
Wow. You mean
Yeah.
a scene from a motion picture? Goodness.
Yeah.
I also remember a scene from
Yeah.
motion picture.
Man,
I
I sure
thought-
remember
so-
when we could talk about these movies because the companies weren't being gigantic assholes. Oh wait, they were.
All right. First things first, we need to get the billionaires to give 0.01% of their profits to the writers so that both the writers are fully compensated and all the other people on strike. And so we don't have to pussyfoot around doing this bullshit. We can actually do our goddamn hobby.
Not that we're mad about it or anything.
No.
can I also just say? Can I also just say, completely off the topic of the obvious problems with humanity as a whole? Yui Yaiba is fucking hot. Look at her with that gun. Oh my god, just a swoon.
Yes, very good.
Look at that.
So Mitsubishi Genrai attacks, and both Fuwa and Yui, apparently they're still Vulcan and Valkyrie, and so they get into a big fight.
Yeah, this is funny because what's the Scorpion one called again?
Hirobi.
Hirobi? Yeah, what's his... Yeah, when he transforms, I'm like, oh, they're really fucked now. They couldn't even deal with this idiot in the original timeline, let alone the bad post-apocalyptic timeline.
Yeah,
They're absolutely fucked.
I was watching Fuwa fight against Hirobi in their costumes. I was like, this didn't end well the last time this happened. What makes you think that this is going to end well this time?
Big fight scene with Vulcan, Valkyrie, and Hirobi and Jin. Will shows up, transforms to another 0-1 while Aruto and Izu's watching. Naruto's mad that he can't transform. And then hijacked driver falls to his feet.
Well, it falls in front of his face because I think at this point he had fallen on the floor for some reason. I don't remember quite why.
Big explosion knocked him on his ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that way, a mysterious hooded figure has a driver for him.
With
He's
the
wearing a hood
dumbest
to be
shoes,
extra mysterious.
the dumbest shoes imaginable. I hate this guy's shoes.
I mean, do we want to say who this person is yet?
I mean, it's
It's
kind of
obvious, I
obvious.
think.
Yeah, it's kind of obvious.
Okay, it's obvious. Yeah. It runs in the family. Have you seen Naruto's goddamn neon green Crocs?
Oh.
Yeah,
Anyway,
it's a little
Naruto
obvious. This
can
is his
transform.
human gear. This is his human gear, Dad. We could tell. It's easy.
Basically, tells him if you want to hold on to your dream, you gotta fight. Aruto puts on the belt, has a super painful transformation. I mean, all the spikes probably don't feel too good going into him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we are introduced to Kamen Rider 001.
Are you kidding? That's the actual name of this shit?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's
not
so
01.
fucking stupid.
It's not
I
01.
love it.
It's 001.
This is semi an inside joke, but hey, Chris, at the very least, he wasn't called the Blob.
Oh my god! I'm so sick of scientists calling things blobs!
Call them shrimps! A shrimp!
There's
So,
a
yeah,
couple of shows we watch where there's these scientists that keep calling things blobs, and she's so pissed off about it.
You choose to call it blob. Really?
But yeah, another 01 is fought by, and I guess we're calling him this, Kamen Rider 001.
Yep.
I've got a better idea. Let's call it 001.
001, that works. We, before, like,
That's a reference.
Actually, yeah, better
Oh,
check.
But we didn't name the property.
I did go banana, so.
Well, I don't think that counts.
We'll have to be like really selective about it, I guess. But
It was in the Gets video game and the Conquers video game. That's where we're using the song from. Done.
fair enough.
Man, this is actually really difficult. It's like you keep trying to make these fun references and everything. It's like it's kind of extreme how pervasive pop culture is in our lives that something like this would be affected. Pay them what they're worth, damn it. It's like
Pay these people so we can talk.
It's like I even said this to Chris last night. I even want fucking Chibnall to get paid really well because he still put in the work. It was shit work, but he still put in the work.
He deserves to be compensated for his work. Yes, I mean that's not up for debate.
So 001, basically, if anyone from Metro Genrai used the Rising Hopper key. Gets into a fight with another 01. And you can see that he definitely has power, but he can't handle the suit. It's a little bit heavy on him, it feels like, with his acting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is called a
another
hijack
01.
build, so.
Oh no, another 01 is about to kill Izu because you betrayed the Humagears. Oh, you betrayed the Humagears. You sided with the enemy. You must die. Your life is now forfeit. But Naruto protects her. But then, oh no, all seems lost when suddenly.
No. Can we point out how painful that sword looks? Like you can tell it's a formed sword. You can tell it's a formed sword, but the makeup they did around his shoulder, like.
And it looked like it hurt.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
It's like, honestly,
There's
I'm
so much
glad
blood.
that they did this. I'm glad that they put the blood in, because there are so many American shows that are so afraid to put blood in when it's for kids, and it's like, kids bleed. Kids bleed all the damn time. You know, like, you go out and you play and you fall down and you scrape up your knee, and that's just part of childhood. Kids can understand blood.
Yep.
Just saying.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But yeah, Geo comes in with this time machine. I have to say it that way every time because that's how the toy says it.
You are legally obligated.
Oh my god.
And Geo and another 01 gets in a fight. Now, this was a regular episode of Geo. At some point, Geo will be given a watch with 01's face on it. And, would be able to transform to Geo 01 armor. But because this is a movie, he can't have that power.
Right.
So they fight for a bit. While this is going on, Gates shows up to save Vulcan and Valkyrie because I guess they ran out of batteries with their stuff. Like, they just de-transformed because they ran out of energy. And Jin and Hirobi's about ready to kill them. So Gates shows up and fights them off in his giant robot.
Like you do.
As you should.
Yeah.
And then Tsukuyomi stops time because that's something she does. And she could choose who's not in the stop time.
And hey, this is a Japanese property, so I'm pretty sure I can say Zawaldo!
Yeah.
Technically, anime is not covered by the strike, so yeah.
Fun fact, the voice actor for Dio is the main villain in the video game that has 01 in it called Memory of Heroes.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Ah.
So yes, 01 with Kamen Rider Double and Kamen Rider O's fights Dio.
Hey, wait a minute.
I'm sure that goes well.
Is that
Wow.
some kind of JoJo reference?
Yes! That literally is a JoJo reference!
Anyway, so Geo, because he knows everything about all the riders, since he has the powers of all the riders, bullshit, overpowered stuff, knows who Aruto is, and explains to him what's going on. Basically, 12 years ago, your timeline got changed, and we're going to have to fix that.
And
And
this is where I freaked out because I'm pretty sure I'm still allowed to make this reference because it's not a reference to the show itself. It's a reference to our show about the show we can't talk about.
You just can't bring up the names of the show we can't talk about.
Because they use Geo1's time machine. And they travel back in time to a better time, the far off past of 2007, when the timeline was good. I can't escape it, can I?
So,
No.
now that I'm thinking about it, we did not see Kamen Rider Kabuto or Kamen Rider Dino, so it's safe to assume they're not in this world yet. Because they probably would be sure.
I will say,
because
Frez, Kris can attest to this, but as soon as I saw that credit prop up for what time period it was, I immediately said that.
God damn it. God
You did.
damn it.
To be fair, a lot of Kamen Rider fans use that same joke with the Rider from 2007, 2008.
Oh my
To
God.
be
Oh
fair.
lord.
Oh
It's
boy.
Who's
it's
also-
universal, I tell you. It's a
wait,
universal language.
Who also time travels.
Oh my Christ.
Oh. Oh.
Wait until we tell Chris about
Remember-
the gang of Kamen Riders who turn into adults even though they were little kids, and then they start turning into Kamen Riders and they ride on a train.
No, that's not Kamen Rider, that's Sentai, that's Tokuger. I posted the
Oh.
picture of them earlier.
Well, then Sentai.
What the fuck are y'all talking about?
Yep. Well,
So,
no. Let's before we get to that point, in Tokugers, they were adults that forgot all their memories, and their final memories were when they were kids together. And while they're trying to figure out what happened to their memories and why the last thing they remember they were kids, the Zordon character of Tokuger is like, well, it's all because you died when you were kids. And so for 40 plus episodes, they're trying to figure out what's going on, and the biggest, most believable theory is they're dead kids somehow in adult bodies.
For kids.
For kids. That's the one I was showing you earlier.
Traumatize
with
them
the
early.
Number 6 guy in it.
Traumatize them early, everybody.
I'm traumatized.
Yeah, Japan goes hard with
These
their
guys.
live action martial arts shows.
These,
Yes, they
these
do.
guys, except for
I'm
number
fine.
6, are dead children.
Oh, that's freaking horrible.
It turns out that's not actually the case, but spoilers. Anyway,
2007. Hooray!
so Aruto gets the trip down memory lane because he remembers all this from when he was like 5 or 6. You know,
'Cause, oh yeah, you know, this is pre Daybreak.
yeah.
Well, it was
And,
12. It was 12 years ago.
Here's
He
the
is currently
different amounts.
22, so it would have been when he was 10. I can math.
Good maps.
Good man.
Yeah.
Yay.
Gates is literally trying to fight with every human gear.
I love it. You're the time driver. No, you're the time driver. No, it's you.
And Tsukiyomi is
Yeah.
like, "Would you stop
Gates-
embarrassing us? God damn it!"
Which isn't too far off from the show. So they go around and they decide they're going to check in on the factory, which was the factory that blew up from episode 4.
Yes.
And while they're there, a human gear outbreak is going on. What?
And
Oops.
here we get into, you know, the classic time travel, not bullshit. When you've got your story that you don't want to change. Oh no, we try and travel. This history is a fixed point. You can't change it because then if you change it, well, it's going to be more work for the writers, and we can't have that. So I'm sorry, Naruto, you can't prevent the deaths of millions of people.
And
Yeah.
what does Aruto do?
Fuck it,
He-
engine.
I will
And-
say,
So
this is a little bit of a dark joke, but I said it's okay as long as he says everybody except for that kid's dad. It's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Because everybody else, we don't know
poor
if they
guy.
died. We just know that that one important guy died. Everybody else is
Wow.
fucked.
So
Yeah.
the 3 Geo Riders transform as well, and they start finding the human gears. And while this fight goes on, another rider just appears out of nowhere and can somehow turn off the berserk.
Which is really interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder who this could possibly be. Surely we have never
Super-
heard this voice before. Although I will admit, I did think it was the grandfather at first, and I thought, man, Grandpa's got some moves.
God damn.
It
Yeah,
is
yeah.
not the grandpa.
Yep,
No,
it's
no.
Soryo, the human gear dad, who is now Kamen Rider Ichigata. Ichi
Yeah.
being used for the number 1.
Ichi's one, I know. What's the gata?
Yep.
I don't know.
Well, if he's got an itchy gotta, he could go see a doctor about that.
But Tish.
That's awful.
It was pretty bad. Let me look up and see if I can figure out what Ichigata means. So, while this is going on, the Geo Riders kill all the human gears.
Because, of course.
Apparently, it's just Ichigata just means type 1.
It makes sense. He is kind of like a
Gotcha.
prototype
So-
type thing here.
Yeah. He's
But
in
yeah,
a cool
he-
blue outfit, strong, brave colors,
Well,
little
then-
red accents.
And it's meant to emulate a lot of Kamen Rider Ichigo, the very first Kamen Rider. With the
Makes
color designs and stuff like that.
Wow, it's almost
Here,
like
let me
that's a
think of it.
theme of this movie or something. The first Kamen Rider.
Something, yeah, give or take.
Yeah. But yeah, this entire time he's like kind of fighting against 001 and what's his name again? Geo?
Geo.
Okay,
Yeah.
because I get them confused all the time, sadly. But he's kind of fighting against them, and he's saying like, "Where did you get that? Where did you get that belt and that progress key? How dare you have that? Blah 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 blah." And then Aruto kind of commits the time traveler's sin by revealing who he is.
Well, Aruto also figures out who that's his dad.
Well,
and he
yeah,
stops
but
Geo from attacking him.
it's still the time traveler's sin of, don't reveal who you are, don't reveal you're from the future. Like, bad stuff's gonna happen,
Yeah.
you're gonna change the past, but to be fair, this guy's gonna wind up dead anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Maybe.
Dark.
Yeah.
Let's be fair,
so-
this isn't any sort of Final Fantasy VII remake. He's gonna wind up dead.
Oh no! What? Yeah.
Yeah, we got to pull out the video game
Wait,
references.
can we
here.
mention that? Can we mention?
Yeah,
Yeah, video games are fine.
That?
we can't mention something that came out around 2007 when timelines were good.
Fuck.
Basically, TV and movies off limits. Video games and
Games and
anime are
anime.
okay.
Anime.
98% Kamen Riders, okay.
Doesn't that just work out convenient for you?
I mean, it works
This
out
is
the
when
same
your
for
hyper
each
interest
other.
has come in. It's like, finally, my time has come.
So we get some of the backstory. Basically, we get a scene of Aruto's grandpa with Will and the vice president and lackey in a brand new office, which is kind of weird to see them in.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
why does Aruto have to work from a fucking closet then?
Because daybreak happened.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
but like this is interesting because Will is like, oh, you're making human gears to do all the labor for humans. What are you gonna pay us? Pay you? What are you talking about? Which is
Well,
kind of
here's-
uncomfortably close to.
Well, I mean,
and-
I will
and in
say-
hindsight,
I will say about this, the grandfather does not automatically go, "You stupid bitch." What are you talking about? It's the vice president that does that. The grandpa actually kind of looks a little
Yeah.
contemplative about this.
oh, because Will
Yeah,
got
he
that
does not give
singularity.
him an answer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's realizing Will's getting that singularity going. But
Yeah.
at least when a bunch of workers aren't getting paid, or decide to do it with a strike instead of genocide.
Well, I mean,
that is a
for
plus,
now.
I suppose.
we're doing that for now.
I mean, I'm not one to echo what Ron Perlman said, but Ron Perlman did say some things that I will not repeat.
Eat the rich.
I mean,
So
Eat the rich.
we find out that Sorio is working on a Kamen Rider program, and he's working with Will on stuff, and Naruto walks in a room to see both Will and his dad being chummy.
Oh, it's worse than that. Littered around them are all of the extinction keys, the Progrise keys reader that we see Jin and Hirobi using in the future. It's like they are full on the reason all of that happened. Like, damn.
So, Kachiri,
Yeah.
I need to ask, and if this is spoilers for later, you can just say it's spoilers for later. How much of what we see in this movie is the actual original timeline backstory to Daybreak?
If I'm going to be completely honest, they don't go into it.
Oh, wow.
So basically, we're meant to take
So
this
there's
as
no-
the complete 100% truth of what happened, minus the time jacker and everything.
Kind
So-
of, maybe. Again, they don't even go into.
The events of the movie?
It's
Because
kind
the
of
way
hard to
it seems
explain.
is
They
like-
don't go into a lot. They go into why Ark has decided that humanity is the problem, which Will says, good news, Ark has come to a conclusion and humanity must die. You know, they explain what caused Ark to do that, but they don't explain if everything we see here what happened in the right timeline.
Gotcha. I would assume
So,
it is, just
I'm
because the only thing that
just gonna
changed
say that it
was,
did.
yeah. The only thing that changed is
Yeah.
the time jacker comes in and is like, hey, Will, I know what happens in the future. You want to make sure it doesn't.
So yeah, let's talk about this time jacker. Meet Finis, the 5th time jacker to the Geo series. Geo had 3 time jackers in their show. That was the main antagonist. The previous Kamen Rider crossover movie had another one who Geo and Build had to deal with. And so Finis is the 5th one. And, there are also ginger fluid, if I can speak right. Jeez, I don't know why that was so hard to say.
Gender fluid.
Gender fluid. Words. Sometimes they are hard to say. And she's a longtime Kamen Rider fan. Like, she's wanted to be in Kamen Rider for a long time. And she got her big break here. And Kamen Rider Double has a sequel series that was done in manga and then eventually made into an anime. It also has a theater version of it, and she is the lead female in the theater version of the Kamen Rider Double sequel.
Aww.
series.
That's really nice for her. I'm glad. See, this is
Yeah.
how a series should do fan interaction, unlike some other series that we won't mention that may or may not have had sidewalks involved. That's not saying anything, but I am saying a lot of things.
So
Yeah.
we get a lot of exposition from this point. Basically, Aruto's grandfather thinks that both Soryo and Will has turned against them and is trying to create the Kamen Rider system to kill everyone. They realize that they need to stop Ark before it gets launched. Soryo realizes that Will has lost his mind and Ark has lost its mind and needs to stop Ark itself. Aruto has a a mental breakdown and a panic attack, which you don't really get to see heroes have panic attacks too often over stuff.
See,
This poor
at first I
man.
thought this was like
Poor
time travel
Aruto.
shenanigans, but yeah, definitely like actual like a oh my god.
Well, Will decides to play with Aruto's mind and completely breaks it by saying, "Hey, your father and I are doing this is because you want all of us Human Gear smiles."
Which with
Yeah.
respect, I understand why Aruto's like, oh no. But also, I'm sorry, this is kind of fucking stupid. It's like a monkey paw wish,
Yeah.
It's like, but it's not even that because he didn't even know he was making a monkey. He didn't even know he was making a monkey paw wish. It's like if you say, "Oh, I wish I had $100." Here's $100. I killed someone for it. Their blood is on your hands. Oh, feel bad about it. Feel bad. It's like, no.
But at the same time, you gotta
Yeah.
remember this is an Naruto who have seen people be hurt. He knows what happened with Go's dad. You know, Go's life from that point was hell until, you know, 01 figured out the truth.
I mean,
You
hell,
know,
he was
he
in
knows about-
Daybreak. He was just in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he knows all those deaths is being twisted to be blamed on him.
I think it's also
I mean,
a little
I
bit
understand.
of. I think it's
Yeah.
also a little bit of he's doing it to himself, because like obviously Will puts the seed in his head, but he's the one who waters it and helps that seed grow. Let's be fair. He's
Yeah.
his own worst enemy in this little bit.
But no,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
but the thing is, I like this scene, even though it is clearly probably a little bit overacted, but I like it because it just shows that someone can be vulnerable that way. You know, you have to be careful about
Yeah.
what you say.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the same time, this was a child saying something to his robot father. It's a little unfair
Yeah.
to twist what a child says and be like, "Oh, so you want all humans to die, huh? Oh, it's on you."
I mean, again,
This is
to
your
be-
fault.
Yeah.
to be completely fair, his dad wanted to make a world where human gears could also smile. It's just unfortunate that the arc immediately just went, full, wow, this means humans are shit, so therefore we must murder them all. It's not either of their faults that this happened, it's just that's what happened with the arc.
Yeah.
And we may find out who's at fault here in another couple of months or so of this podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my other question, and
But
that didn't get
I'm
answered,
the- I'm-
but eventual.
I am again saving my talk about this in greater detail until a scene later in the film. But for now, we got to stop the arc from launching.
So Sorio
Yeah.
and Sorio shows up in the random field, and he mentally jumps into the ark and starts doing something inside there. Naruto shows up and is like, "I'm going to stop you, Dad. You cannot launch that machine."
Launch it.
And then,
Blowing it up, you dumb shit.
yeah, no, and Will's like, "Oh, you idiot! He's blowing it up."
And we can't let that happen, now
So-
can we?
So we get Naruto's dad actually doing his transformation, which pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
Cyclone
yeah.
Rise.
And while this is
Cyclone-
happening,
Cyclone, by the way, being the original Kamen Rider's belt and bike were called Cyclone.
Aw,
ooh,
that's nice.
original Kamen Rider
Ah.
references. I wonder if any of those will come up. Oh, look, it's Finis.
Yay.
Finis has created another key and decided to turn themselves into another Ichigo.
This is really fucking cool. Like,
Yeah.
they turn into
And, like-
this giant fucking monster that is basically the original 1971 Kamen Rider. Like, I get that. Okay. But, like, as a giant fucking monster that's half Kamen Rider, half motorcycle.
Well,
Like-
if you read the manga, or if you find out that he really can't transform unless he has a lot of wind going into his belt, and that's why he rides. He drives really fast.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Yes.
to get back to the topic, another, I almost called Shin.
Another Ichigo?
Another Ichigo is basically a neat little thing. Is we're talking about the first Kamen Riders. The villain from the previous Kamen Rider Geo movie was another Kuga, which was the first Kamen Rider of his era.
Oh,
Okay.
And so between Ichigo, Kuga, and 01, another 01 is the only one of the first Kamen Riders not to be a giant monster.
Fair. I like the going
Okay.
back to basics. We're starting a new generation, so here's the first Kamen Rider of the old generation, and they're back, and they're pissed off, and even despite the CGI, which we're getting used to at this point. I just really love the fucking design of another Ichigo.
Oh, it's a good design. It's really good.
Holy shit! Just
Also, can I just
there's
say,
even some symbolism.
I'm really glad that they didn't make another 01, a giant monster like that, if only for one reason. And that would be that he'd have even bigger wings that Aruto still doesn't get. Not that I'm bitter about it or anything.
I mean, and so like how another Ichigo transforms in this movie, another Kuga also transformed in its movie.
Everyone gets wings but Naruto.
Motherfucker! Give the boy his damn wings!
Anyway, so to fight another Ichigo, you guys get to see one of the super forms of Geo, which is Trinity, which is him literally merging with Gates and Waz into one rider.
I was like, did those two just turn into Kamen Rider? What the fuck?
Yeah, that was a thing. I'm not gonna lie. I had a moment where I was just like brain broken.
Yep. No.
Like, what happened?
Just sort of ate
Trinity,
his friends.
basically, it's just the three of them combined, and somehow they're 3 times powerful as each of them separately.
I mean,
they get to use each other's weapons, and they didn't show it, but they're all inside this giant room with a clock, and they dictate who's controlling the body wherever the minute hand of the clock is on. And so, like, you'll get scenes where Geo wants to finish off the monster, and the minute hand will go towards Geo inside the mind, and it just misses him by like a minute, and he reaches down to nudge the minute back to him.
Oh, come on! Just give me 5 more seconds. What?
No, it's my turn. It's my turn now.
Yep. They'll be fighting all separately in a big fight, and Geo will get the idea to do Trinity without their consent. And so they're about to punch monsters, and then they're all shaking like, "What are you doing, you idiot? Trinity!"
This is some high concept stuff. But we're all fighting. It's great. Oh, we're fighting the real final bad guys. We're really gonna fix the future here, and 01's gonna save the day and stop that timeline. And the arc launches.
Well, I like is so Aruto's not fighting yet, but while Ichigata and another 01's fighting, Aruto decides to join in. And we get a really cool scene, like father-son fighting another 01. And Arc is launching, and Soryo's like, oh shit, I gotta finish this self-destruct thing. He gets up to like 96%, and of course the wings come out, and he gets kicked. And that somehow...
can't concentrate.
That also ends up removing all the progress. Arc gets launched. And because Arc is now the satellite, it can hack all the human gears at once.
God damn it.
And it does.
We sure prevented that bad timeline from coming about, huh?
Well, what ends up happening is Ichigata turns evil, and we get some child abuse.
Yeah.
And they decide they all need to run away because they can't stop their villains. And Geo jumps into the time machine. Gates loses his time machine. And they go back to the present with nothing fixed.
I think you mean time machine.
Machine. Time machine.
Yes, thank you. Well, so we're back in. Wow, remember 2007? We fucked it up.
It's no longer when things are good.
All right, well, back in 2019, when things are shit.
And we have Aruto just sort of walking into the human base like,
Hey guys, what did I miss? He's just been taken hostage, you fuck.
Well, shit.
Can I also say poor Izu?
I know.
She has been so precious this entire movie. And like we barely talked about how precious she is. Like she puts up with so much abuse from her human counterparts because obviously all human gears are going to get shat on, and she gets shoved around. Her face is all dirty because she's in horrible conditions, being treated horribly, but she's still out there doing her damned best, being a queen because she knows it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, Yue even says at one point that the reason they've survived this long is because Izu keeps telling them when the human gears are going to attack and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So Aruto decides that he's going to go save Izu by himself. And we see a board members meeting where, Will decides it's going to be a execution. And, Izu shows up and Aruto shows up, does a big speech about dreams and stuff. And wait a second, all these human gears are like, wait, why are we killing people?
But I mean,
And they all
also,
start siding with Aruto.
Let's also point out that Izu, during this point, she starts kind of remembering the other timeline. And she's like remembering all the times that they got together and, like the times he's talked about dreams, and she's like, I want to help too. I want your, your dreams to come true. And it's like, baby.
Oh.
Sweet, sweet baby.
she basically makes a confession there.
Yeah.
I love her.
So this is where the point builds up for me because this bad timeline is basically a human gear fascist state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's literally like, we're going to kill our enemy. Oh, you collaborate with our enemy. You betrayed our human gear race. You must die.
And then Aruto comes in like, I want humans and human gears to smile together, and all these other people are like, yeah, we do too.
And Will's like, no, I'm in charge. You're all traitors. Turn in the monsters this instant. Click.
Well,
yeah. Well, before that, like,
well, also there is the thing.
Guys, let Kateri talk.
We talked about this earlier after Frezno ended the movie, finished the movie. Fascism has been the villain of Kamen Riders since the beginning.
Which is, very poignantly made with the point of the fact that there is a giant monster in this movie that is the original Kamen Rider, which, Kuchiri, tell us a little about the origins of the original Kamen Rider Ichigo from 1971.
So, Segata Sanchiro. The same actor, by the way. So he was a motorcycle athlete, super genius. Before he was even a superhero, he had a 600 IQ. And that's why a Nazi organization named Shocker kidnapped him to try and turn him into an android and brainwash him. And that's basically where the original that's actually where the original Kamen Rider got his powers. He went through an android transformation. He was going to be the Grasshopper Man. They've already made a Batman, a Spider-Man, I think the movie has a Butterfly Man, I think.
We like to emphasize this is not the American characters, this is the Japanese characters, so it's fine.
There are spaces between those names because they are legally distinct.
Exactly.
Yeah. And in fact, actually, current retellings of the story has changed their names to be like Bat, Ame, something. I had to look it up. But basically, a scientist realized he was doing something wrong, saved the original Kamen Rider from being transformed into a Nazi super soldier, and then the Kamen Rider decided he was going to use his power to destroy the other Nazi super soldiers. And so from that point on, throughout the 70s, we got to meet a whole bunch of different variations of a Nazi group trying to do, fascism things. It even got to a point where this is a legit monster from one of the seasons.
I've
Oh
seen
my
oh,
god.
Oh. Mm.
Oh
So-
god.
So one of the organizations who decided to call themselves God fought against Kamen Rider X. And their whole thing was they took dead fascists and combined them with animals. So this is Starfish Hitler.
Oh, oh no.
Fucking shit.
I have a question. Does he have the same powers of a starfish to regenerate?
I don't know. I never watched the episode.
Okay.
I know he doesn't. He's only in one episode. He's only in one episode and he dies. But
Good.
we also have Spider Napoleon.
Oh.
We have Leech Dracula.
Oh.
I'm
Why?
I'm sorry. I may have misheard you. Did you say Leech Dracula?
Yes.
That's just a double Dracula. Let's double down vampirism.
Oh, vampire. Oh, God.
Oh my god.
So anyway,
Look out, everybody. It's Cockroach Mussolini.
So every writer from the 70s were basically they almost got brainwashed, transformed, and someone saved them. So the second Kamen Rider was saved by Ichigo. Ichigo and Nigo saved V3, yada yada. And then
Oh, please don't
fast forward
mention
to current
V3
Kamen Riders.
for entirely different reasons. I
So-
like Kamen Rider.
So fast forward to now, Kamen Riders are still either borrowing or sharing powers with the villains. So for example, Zero One. Zero One has progress keys. The villains have the Zetsumice keys.
It's why they're all technically Kamen Riders.
Well, then Kamen Rider Gamer. All the gamers had a variation of the gamer virus in them, which allowed them to transform into Kamen Rider forms to fight the gamer virus.
God.
I love that I've corrupted you enough that you, instead of calling him X-Aid, you called him Kamen Rider Gamer.
Kamen Rider Gaim uses fruits from the invading dimension that is opening up holes throughout the city. Basically, the fruits are transformed into like locks, and the locks give them their forms. So all the riders, wrong decisions from any of these riders, and they're the villains. Basically.
So,
Okay.
yeah, so basically you've got this, the dirty little secret of Kamen Rider being that it is a power that was originally meant to be used for fascism being used for anti-fascism. And now here we have a bad timeline where the Human Gears have risen up to this fascist society of exterminate all the humans. And there's something interesting there too in that they're twisting Naruto's dream, which was, oh, I want everyone to understand each other and be happy. And for that to be twisted by fascists and be like, oh yeah, we can all unite and be happy as long as we kill everyone that isn't us.
So what I'm hearing
Yeah.
is
So,
Symphogear.
I mean, I didn't. I mean, you said it, not me.
I mean, that has been the trend in this, so.
Shisa decides that there should be a vote to see if they give the company back to Naruto, which confuses Will, and everyone there is for it, but the vote still fails because 51% of the company is still owned by Soryo, who tells Naruto that if you can't beat me, you're not going to be president of this company.
Yeah, if you don't surpass me, you're never gonna make your dreams come true. Blah blah blah. It's just such a Japanese thing.
Mhm.
It's
It's like
my ass.
forcing your successor to do.
So, basically, because Naruto didn't win, Will's arc to basically make everyone go berserk and Aruto, Shista, and Izu runs out to a whole company filled with berserk Humagears. And around this point is when the Resistance Fire shows up with, Fuwa and Yui, and we get this, sort of this massive fight. Geo. I know I knew where you were going with 53 there.
Yes.
I know,
Okay,
I
we
just
gotta
wanted
talk
to
about the. We gotta talk about the one line that we were joking about before we started. But even in this bad timeline, who is so one note, you've got Yui doing the speech about, oh, we all came here because we believe in Izu, and we're here to save her. We're here to fight for what's right, and we're here to fight for our right to exist.
And then Fuwa just comes in, and he's like, kill all the Humagears, destroy.
So there's a good
Oh my
chance. There's a good chance that this movie was filmed before any of the episodes of Zero One.
Okay, so I just want to point out one more thing. I'm gonna bitch about Fuwa and his gun discipline again. It wasn't in this particular fight, but he was just firing a freaking RPG at point blank.
Yeah.
As you do, because that makes perfect sense.
Like, oh my god.
So it's at this point that like 4 fights happen at once.
Oh yeah, no, actually, I this is how I put it in my notes.
Climax fights. Yep. Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
So Gates, Waz, and Tsukuyomi also shows up, and they start fighting. And while they're fighting, Jin and Hirobi shows up. Tsukuyomi's using her powers and causing the Humagears to hate each other. Waz is reminiscing on good times when he was their commander in the Resistance before he betrayed them for Omagio. And then Gates gets cut by Hirobi, and all 5 of them decides, we should probably transform.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might help a little
Just
bit.
a bit.
Hey, and about a minute screen time after this transformation, Tsukuyomi was a rider longer in the movies than she was in the show.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, if I remember correctly,
Yeah.
she transforms for about like a minute and then stops transform. And
She
just
transforms, 5 seconds later detransforms, joins the final boss of Geo, shows back up during the final fight to sucker stab the final boss in the back. The final boss turns around, bitch slaps her, and kills her.
The fuck?
Bitch slaps her head right off.
Yeah. Oh no,
Literally
the head doesn't
slaps
come
her,
off.
and she's... Well, no, the hit doesn't
Monica?
come off, but she explodes before she hits the wall, and then she hits the wall.
Christ!
Damn.
You didn't tell me that part.
I told you guys, you should have watched the final episode of Geo before watching this.
But then there'd be spoilers.
Uh.
Even more spoilers than we already got.
Anyway, so they do their fight. While this is going on, another 0-1 is fighting Vulcan and Valkyrie, which is a legit fight because one of the rules of the another riders is they're weak to riders of similar power. So either Geo in an armor of that rider, or if a season has multiple riders, one of those riders can kill another rider.
Cool.
Okay.
So
Alright.
makes sense. Yeah, makes sense because Vulcan and Valkyrie are 0-1 riders. They are super strong against another 0-1.
And then Geo goes to solo another Ichigo.
Yep, and this time he brings out Geo 2, another super form Geo.
Electric Boogaloo!
Basically, Geo 2 has the ability to see so much into the future at any given time. That's all it really gives him. It also gives him a power boost that allows him to destroy another rider without having to be that rider.
Neat. Wish he'd used
Cool.
this sooner.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
And
then
then,
we wouldn't have a movie.
and then we get a really cool transformation with both grasshoppers headbutting each other on the stairway as Ichigo and 001 transforms to
Oh,
start
this
their
is great.
fight.
Yeah, this is pretty great.
And it's honestly probably the best 2-minute fight scene in any Kamen Rider movie around the time.
You know, I guess there was some mandate here, but gay, the Zeo trio fighting Jin Hirobi. They win, but you know Jin Hirobi just get knocked back by a big boom, and they're like, "Fuck this shit, I'm out." Like,
Yeah.
like it's an alternate timeline. You could just kill them. I mean, this is the one time that this. It's an alternate time. Like fucking anything goes. You can just.
What's funny is
you can't kill something that beautiful.
What's funny is while we're getting all of the Zero Geo forms in this movie, Gates has a super form and Waz has a super form that neither of them use in this movie. That probably would have just one-shot Hirobi and Jin.
God damn it!
Oh.
I mean,
they're too beautiful to die.
I mean, I love Jin. He's so cute.
I know.
They get their ass
Also,
kicked. And they
where was
retreat.
Assassin Chan?
Yes, where was Assassin
Where
Where
was
was
Chan?
Assassin Chan?
You're telling me a human gear
Assassin
society, that wants to kill humans could not use an assassin? Come on. Come
Well,
on.
if you guys are missing, I'll let you guys know. If you're missing on Assassin Chan, he gets a very important bit of the next 2 episodes that we're going to review.
Yes.
Good.
Excellent.
Most
He's
excellent.
like the focus of them.
Yeah.
My dream.
Excellent. So, yeah, Jin and Hirobi get beat and they piece the fuck out. And Vulcan and Valkyrie blast the ever-loving shit out of another 0-1. He's dead.
He's very good.
Geo and another Ichigo fight is held off for a bit, and we get, again, the peak fight. Against...
You know, it's father and son. It's like another famous conflict in something that escapes my mind right now.
You know, I should probably rename that button from YouTube crimes to SAG-AFTRA crimes. Just in solidarity.
No, it's not SAG-AFTRA that are committing the crimes. It's those billionaires who refuse to fucking pay them!
Less than 1%.
Yeah.
You guys are the 1% and you can't pay less than that?
Well, they gotta pay their shareholders first.
But that might be the fair wage that I give the workers might be a fraction of the cost of my 7th yacht.
So to get back into this fight, it shows off like the speed, awesome choreography. You could just see like Ichigo bitch slap 001 into like the bridge. You know, Naruto falls down, runs at him, and like gets knocked aside again. Like they go down a hallway at super speed.
Is there a name? Kachiri, is there a name for when they double pump their belts to power up? Is that like called something?
It's just to trigger the finisher. It's to trigger their impact. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So
yeah, me and Kat were having a moment. It was like they're pumping this stupid thing, and all we could think of was like those super soakers that you would have to pump to get pressure.
If this was the normal belt, so you know, like when 01 is his normal finishers, he pushes a key back into his belt to trigger it.
Yes.
You know, so that's how that belt triggers. But to trigger the Force Riser, the Hijack Riser's belt, you just close it and reopen it.
Gotcha.
And depending on the belt, sometimes they have like secret ultra finishers if you do it so many times. So around this time, it was revealed that the normal 01 belt, if you keep pressing the finisher, it'll go Bite Rise, Mega Rise, Giga Rise, Terra Rise, you know, stuff like that.
Extra fries.
Basically, and so it was just them setting up their finisher. Naruto gets pushed into a corner, pushes off. They do one last punch, and then they like show them outside the suits where Naruto says his catchphrase, which always gives me chills at this moment.
I know, it was so good.
The one to defeat you is me.
And then they do basically, if this was Dragon Ball Z, and they do the Beam Clash, Kamen Rider does the kick clash with rival Kamen Riders. And before the kicks connect, Soryo kind of gives up. You see him just like relax a bit. He realizes that, the future is in good hands. And it's just like, it's kind of heartbreaking.
Oh.
Traumatize
Yeah.
Aruto even more by making him kill his own father. Good job.
Oh boy! Time to make this boy cry.
It gets even worse. It gets even worse. So they have a moment where Aruto's like asking his dad why he gave up as his dad's dying. And,
Wow. Aruto gets to have seen his father die twice.
Which is honestly like, who does that?
He even
then,
looks at his dad and he asks, "Why did you pretend to be taken over by the Ark?" And it's like, "Oh my god! Stop torturing this
because
poor
I wanted
boy."
to make you strong.
And then as pointed out, Izu says Soryo is smiling. Aruto finally got his dad to smile.
And from the heart.
He basically just wanted him to
We don't have
believe he
time
wasn't-
to dwell on that. We don't have time to dwell on that because it's the final boss fight time.
It's 001 and Geo 2 versus fucking another Ichigo.
It's the final breakdown.
Well, 01 shows up. He gets his power back, so he actually transforms to regular 01.
Oh, thank God.
Geo shows up. You guys get to see what Geo's final form is. As all 20 Kamen Riders come up from the ground, and 01's like, guys!
Yeah.
And we get Grand Geo. Everyone's here. We get Grand Geo, who is basically, at any given time, Geo can just tap one of the statues on his armor and pull a Kamen Rider from their time while they're doing a finishing move, and they'll just do the finishing move on his opponent.
That's a handy power. And also, not just for nostalgic reference to the old Kamen Riders, but also, just in general, to beating the shit out of the thing. And so, they wail on another Ichigo.
Oh yeah.
Well, around this time, another Ichigo has decided to upgrade their power. They transform. And, I gotta look up the name of this thing again.
Isn't it
They use the
another
time
new
machine,
one?
don't they?
It's another new one,
It's-
isn't it?
Another new one, yep.
Yep.
And because it merged with Gates' time machine.
Which is kind of the dumbest thing that another Ichigo could have done, because now it's like, oh, if we destroy this, it resets the timeline, because the time machine's from the future, and if we destroy it in the past, then none of this happened, or something.
Yeah.
Oh.
So we get to see all of 01's keys, minus Falcon, of course.
We can't have this fucker flying, now can we?
Yeah.
We even, we get like 2 seconds of Breaking Mammoth, just for one kick. While this is going on, you see Kamen Riders just fly out of nowhere because Geo is just summoning them to do their finishers on another new one.
Goddamn row.
And earlier on, before the Grand Geo transformation, 01 stabbed another one. And both Geo, who for some reason de-transformed back to regular form, and 01 decide they're going to use their finishing blows right on that sword to finish off another new one.
Yeah.
It's like Skyward Sword, pushing the spike into a certain thing's head, finishing it off,
Oh, it is bloody as all hell. I didn't realize the last few times I watched this how much blood is coming from another 01 as she's being, disemboweled, basically.
I mean, it's motor oil.
They,
Let's be
not
honest.
she, sorry, they. They are being disemboweled. Anyway. And, yeah, that fixes everything. It's all good. We get a little bit of an epilogue as the sun's setting, and Geo realizes it's time to erase everyone's memories. And both Gates and Tsukiyomi's like, oh crap. He's done this how many times before, probably? My
Gotta make sure the timeline is pure.
well, no, Geo just doesn't want any chance of Oma Geo from coming up. I believe. I think that's why he's doing it.
Oh.
But it's funny because this came out like 2 months after the Geo ending, and it's implied that there might have been like another dozen adventures with this group, always remembering their past selves. And Geo's like, "Oh, it's time to erase everyone's memories," because both Gates and Tsukiyomi look so tired about it. Like the second he says it.
And so Aruto and Gio are gonna fight.
Also,
And
the
the-
transformations, by the way, for behind. He doesn't want to forget his dad.
And so they go to punch, and it's slow-mo, and it's ambiguous whether or not who won the fight.
Credits.
And then we get our credits where Jin and Hirobe are doing their thing. The vice president wants to be a Kamen Rider. Tells Shista he wants a driver and starts doing poses.
Two things about this. Two things about this.
Yeah, big pick energy guy.
Two things about this. One, I love the picture of Aruto that's hanging up above the lobby. That is freaking hilarious. And two, I love the fact that he just starts trying to figure out what his pose would be. I love this man.
The big pick energy guy has some good points.
And Yui are they're having like coffee, but they're sitting at separate tables. And Fu's like, I dreamt I turned into a human gear. If I return into a human gear, I want you to destroy me because all human gears must be destroyed.
And then Yua's like, well, what if I turned into a human gear? And he's like, oh, don't worry, I'd murder you immediately. It's like, thanks, dude.
Christ.
Well, like, here's the thing. It's like, a Humagear Yue would be absolutely terrifying.
Photo. That painting is the best thing ever.
That's big.
Yeah.
So I told you about the Toki forms. That was like my image. I grabbed that from the opening credits, like when the opening credits came out, like episode 3 when they finally translated them. And I made that my avatar on the Toki forms. So for the last 4 years, that's been my avatar there.
So Aruto wants Kamen Rider on his business card, and he's just like, no, you can't do that. But Izu remembers the events of the movie, even though whether or not Aruto remembers is ambiguous. And we finally get a fucking Aruto pun.
Yeah, we get an Aruto pun, but also find someone who looks at you like Izu looks at Aruto.
I know.
Oh my god, yes.
Oh my gosh.
She is so in love.
It's like, I love this. I love that she gets to keep that character development because, like, this boy nearly sacrificed his entire life for her, and I am so glad she gets to keep that. I'm so glad.
Yeah.
And it's like, I know that they don't address what happens in the movie until, like, several episodes later, but, like, oh my god, I'm so happy she keeps this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Then we get a post-credit tease showing a golden Kamen Rider on top of Daybreak, promising that Arc will be revived.
Well, now we know kind of what Arc is, because that wasn't really... I don't know if that was really explained up until now, but
I mean, it was
They
a
pointed
tiny
out it was
bit obvious. It's a tiny bit obvious.
Yeah, they
it
pointed out it was
exactly
the broken at the bottom of Daybreak thing.
Yeah, and if you look at the design of Arc, and then you look at the design of Satellite there, you can kind of tell that it's the same design, so... I think it kind of explained it really well.
But we'll get to learn more about Arc here in a bit. Now that Arc is becoming more of a major player. But yeah, that's the movie.
Yay!
Thoughts, questions,
answers.
Who wants to go
first?
first?
I guess I will. I thought it was a pretty good movie. There was a lot of interesting things brought up in it. It kind of fell into the trap where, like, you need to have previous knowledge of events to be able to fully understand it, but at the same time, it did a good job of explaining things on the way. Oh yeah, that was pretty.
That's
But
that was the original first transformation of it.
goodness gracious.
Mhm.
You can tell like where they were trying desperately to sell toys, and you can tell desperately where they were taking full advantage of their budget for all of these amazing, wonderful fight scenes with all these fantastic actors that honestly brought a lot of the battles to life. High praise for that. Um, High praise for all of the female involvement. Um, Even Izu had a pretty big role, even for as little as we talked about her and Shista. She was also pretty good.
She's again.
Oh,
She's
like
still very underutilized. I think still, but she still
yeah,
gets her good moments.
she did. She stood up for Izu, so that was awesome. Um, I liked it. I thought it was a good entry. It's a shame that none of this is going to be really addressed in the rest of the series, but
Well, not
for
until
what it
later,
was,
at least.
good job.
Well,
Yeah.
I should point out that most of the reason why they don't bring up the movie in the show is if you didn't get to watch the movie, the DVDs didn't come out until like 6 months after, and then that's usually when they're
That's
like,
fair.
"Oh, hey, you remember when this happened?" So like, Super Sentai always had like a new Zord or something in their summer movies, and then you knew if you're watching just the show, you're skipping the movies. You know when the DVD came out because hey, it's episode 43, and there's the Zord from the movie showing up in the show to
That's
sell
fair.
you on buying the
Hey.
DVD. Yeah,
That's fair.
I feel like they should they should really like plan these out better. Cause like there's so many animes that have really good movies that don't even acknowledge the movies anywhere in the anime. Or they pull some sort of nonsensical reason as to why everything isn't remembered, even though like it's a really good movie and
Well,
it just feels so detached.
it depends on the season, but sometimes the movies aren't even tied into the show. So like the Kamen Rider
Mm-hmm.
Kabuto movie, his solo movie because they didn't do crossovers in 2007 when the show was good.
Nah.
Yeah, Kabuto is one of the 2007 writers. His movie is an alternate telling of his story. So it
Ah.
literally starts out as like, this is the first time you're meeting this version of Kabuto, and the whole story's told in 90 minutes.
Well,
Kamen Rider Ryuki, the Kamen Rider Ryuki movie can be used to replace the last 6 episodes because it's an alternate ending.
Huh.
I see.
Interesting.
Kamen Rider Dino's movie, because of a certain plot point in the movie, there are a handful of random scenes in like a dozen episodes of Dino that makes no sense unless you watch the movie.
Huh.
Basically, one of the main characters just gets randomly kidnapped from an episode, and they're back in the following episode with no explanation of what happened to them.
Ah.
But then it's explained in the movie.
Gotcha. Interesting.
All right.
Yeah, it's just how it works. And so, like, even though this movie is somewhat canon, they're not going to address it or the stuff until the DVD comes out, if any.
Which is like what, episode 20, 30,
Yeah.
something like that.
Something. Anyway,
We'll know.
we'll know. Who wants to go next?
Well, I guess I'll go next since nobody else is speaking up. There is one thing that we didn't get to mention that I'm going to mention here before I start talking about what I thought. And there is a part where after the arc is launched, Will in his another 01 form goes straight to the office where he essentially grabs Grandpa Hedon by the throat and holds him up, and the VP and the VP's flunky are just watching this, and they're obviously horrified because this guy's being choked to death. And the reason that I found this scene partially funny is because there's a moment where he's being choked. He's like, oh, by the way, make sure you get my dream going. That'd be fantastic if you could do that for me, please. I've also got some dry cleaning. If you could pick that up, please. I want something nice to wear when I get buried. Oh, and be sure to feed Fluffy, okay? We're good? We're good. And dies. I don't know, just the way that they frame it.
It's a William Shatner death.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But it really made me laugh because it was just like, oh, I'm being choked. Oh, by the way. So anyways, my thoughts. I honestly think this was a pretty fantastic movie. Like, obviously there's the stuff I didn't quite understand because I didn't see the previous series, but I still got enough of what was basically happening. It made me intrigued. I want to see these characters now, so I want to go watch that series. I like the emotional depth of it. I love the characterization they did, except for Fuwa, who didn't have any. I love being able to see the past and sort of get an idea of exactly what happened with Daybreak. Fantastic choice, in my opinion. I love the fact that there was a giant monster that actually looked really menacing and cool. It was a fun, emotional, great 90 minutes of movie, and if all the other Kamen Rider movies are even kind of like this, even the ones without the crossovers, they're doing a really damn good job. So, kudos. It's definitely see this if you are, watching 01 and stuff like that. High praise.
Nice.
Frezno.
I really enjoyed the film. It had some of the best action I've seen in Kamen Rider thus far in my admittedly limited experience with it, but definitely some high points. I really loved the, like I said, the fight in the school with the Geocast, and the whole car chase with Fua and Yui and Naruto at the beginning there, and the climactic quadruple fights, also very well done. Really love the design of another Ichigo. Beautiful, and the way they use bringing back the first Kamen Rider to make a point about the new generation having to overcome the dirty little secret of the old generation, and the ways in which it critiqued that through the use of the whole Humagear flight and the bad timeline where they're taken over the world and they're trying to kill everyone. Just a really solid little Kamen Rider movie. I mean, admittedly, I didn't get as much of the Geo1 stuff as someone who is familiar with that series would, but I got enough that I could get some enjoyment out of it. I liked it. Good watch.
Yeah. I mean, you guys keep on bringing up, you guys didn't watch Geo, which is a solid point. But because of where Geo ended and the fact that these are kind of newish characters, newish characters kind of because, again, Geo fanfics a world where everyone from all these different times are now his classmates and not dead. So
I would honestly say that's one of the troubles you come into with crossovers, because you're kind of expecting everybody to have watched what is in the movie, and not everybody has that time or ability, or in our case, this is our first introduction to Kamen Rider, essentially. At the very least, for watching something. So I think it's still a good introduction.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, if let's say we do watch Gaim next, even though the Wizard Guy movie, I think, is canon, we'll be skipping that. Because, yeah. Because it's not, yeah. Not because of Wizard.
Oh.
Not because it's Wizard, it's because story. It's not if every other crossover is a half-hour extra episode of one writer, half-hour extra episode of another writer, and then they combine for a half hour of them teaming up. Does that make sense?
All right.
Yeah.
So
kind of showcase, all together showcase.
Now, that's how the older crossovers worked. The Geo Build movie didn't quite do it that way, but most of them work in that style. You kind of have to watch Wizard. But then if you want to watch Geo will spoil the endings of every single Kamen Rider that came before it.
Good point.
Because their tribute episodes usually come after the events of the previous one. So like the Blade tribute episode explains what happened 15 years after the amazing ending of Kamen Rider Blade.
Honestly, I would say we would probably leave Geo just to be like the ending thing that we do, just because that way the nostalgia will actually hit us and stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean that's after all the Heiseis, which you could, like, we could skip Kuga, we could skip Double before Geo because they don't show up in the show. But anyway, besides the point, I love how this focuses a lot on Aruto's relationship with his dad. Like, anyone who's had not the best relationships with their dad, the whole I mean, I always get teared up at the moment. I always want to talk to my dad, stuff like that, because this is like the fourth time I watch the movie, and every time I'm like, okay, I'm gonna call my dad, see how he's doing. It's going to be a 2-minute conversation in case he doesn't talk to me much, but I'm still going. But it's still a great movie. But yeah, man, we got kind of heavy there. So next up, we are doing episodes 10 through 13, which starts out with an actual Japanese actor playing a characterization of himself. So that's fun.
Oh.
Yeah, that's actually the actor playing a fictionalized version of himself. That's the whole. What do they say? 01 up to 10. What's the name of the episode? I am the actor Shinya Owada. So that's Shinya Owada playing himself in the episode. I am the actor Shinya Owada.
Nice.
Damn.
But he gets to be very friendly with Assassin Chan, and we get to see more of Assassin Chan.
Yay!
As I said, the next couple episodes are heavy Assassin Chan focus.
Oh my god! I think the only thing that would be better is if he became a good guy and started working with them, but was still his bumbling old self. That probably won't happen, but also
we may also get to see 01's super form while this is all going on too.
Neat.
Yay.
Because things might get dark and something might need to be shined.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Oh god, it's the monkey paw again.
Foreboding.
But yeah, you can find most of us on Twitter and Twitch under the same names: Freezing Infernos, the Kuchiri, Concave of Surfer. What else should we plug? We can't plug the other podcast because
it's not running right now.
It's not running. I think we did really good about not having me do extra work bleeping stuff out in the second half. I think we did really good.
Yes.
Well, I mean, if Frez gets his way, we'll probably be doing an anime-themed podcast of some sort to fill in the time.
And look, I'm showing restraint. I didn't even mention the obvious choice.
Oh, you mean Symphogear?
Yeah. Didn't even that's too easy. No, I've got something far worse planned for you.
What the hell is that?
Oh.
Oh, you've just noticed the stunning review. Letterboxd is an amazing site, and you should all sign up for it.
It really is.
Oh. Oh. I mean, so cute. So incredibly adorable. A++. Love that boy. Honestly, I'm gonna ship him and Assassin Chan.
I mean, it's a good flip.
You know what? You know what? One more, and then say goodnight, Kichiri.
I love it when the internet gets thirsty. Now that we have
But
successfully
Finis has
broken
no feet.
Kachiri.
Finis has no feet anymore. Oh, I guess another new Ichigo has like those leg feet, I guess. Oh.
Say
Good night,
goodnight, Kichiri.
everyone. Good night,
Good night,
Kichiri.
Kachiri.
Good night.